At some point in time, you've probably heard this phrase taken out of context. Money is the root of all evil. Scripture actually says it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. Money is tricky. See, when we're dealing with money, what we're dealing with is a value system, a trust-based system. Jesus identifies also in Scripture that mammon and God contend for our attention. Mammon is an ancient god associated with currency, with finance, with wealth. Wealth and the pursuit of wealth can become a greater value than God himself. It seems impossible, but let me show you how possible it is. In a world, especially a country such as the United States, that is governed heavily by currency, transactions, the rate of competition is dependent on the capitalist mindset, which is not altogether a negative, but that's a different conversation. Currency is what drives so much of our life. We depend so heavily upon the dollar that we don't think twice about how deep it gets into us. Dependency is different than use. Value is different than belief. I can value that I need to spend and budget correctly and wisely, but if I believe that I cannot do certain things because of the value attributed to money, and that I don't see that value being attributed back to me, such as X dollar for X value, X value for X experience, then I might belittle my existence and let it be dominated by the dollar. But in our society, especially I live in New York State, especially in New York, especially around the city area, around the Long Island area, money becomes all the more valuable. It's more inclined to become the baseline belief that drives people's mindsets and motivations, and even how they see themselves. Money can get deep into us, and the love of it can get even deeper, because if we attribute it to value and we attribute it to belief and those hairs get crossed, then we can allow money to direct our existence, and it can direct our attention, which is what we put toward our worship. And worship is where we place our trust. Worship is where we focus our attention. And what we worship, we end up building altars to. Now, altars are what we define our existence by. What gives us meaning, what derives existence, and what we say has the ability to lead us. Everyone has an altar, and the love of money can become an altar to mammon as well. It can define how we see our time with our family, define how we see alone time. It can define how we see the significance that we place on certain experiences over others. Money can get so deep that it warps and defines how we perceive the world around us, and it can even get in the way of serving God, where we hold back tithe, where we hold back first fruit, which is due to God, simply because we don't recognize that the value of the dollar has become more significant than obedience to God. That being said, be mindful and be watchful today, because all around us, especially in these times, this economic climate, myself included, I was just talking about this with my wife this morning, myself included, we must make it our prerogative, our priority. We must keep God as our reward, and that faithfulness is the lifestyle unto God, rather than looking to attribute value, to gain value from external things. That He has given us value already, and His reward is enough, and obedience to Him will end us in supply. Jesus says it Himself in Matthew. He says, regarding anxiety about what we should eat and what we should wear, that seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto us. And so that is our baseline, not the love of money or the pursuit of the dollar, but the faithfulness unto Christ, faithfulness unto God the Father, and the pursuit of His kingdom and His righteousness, that we will see His supply on our path.